The universe favors the brave. Ha! Isn't this amazing? We are all somehow heading in the direction towards a life which we once visualized as a crystal clear image, but that became hazy along the way. And not knowing what's really in front of us or how to get to the mountaintop makes us doubt ourselves, and eventually we end up turning around halfway. We may have our own journey to venture, using our own light to lighten our path, but it doesn't mean we have to do everything by ourselves. Imagine if we could just share these lights, share our inner worlds, our hands to help, depart for the journey as an individual, and return as part of a fellowship, molded through our cries, frustrations, tempers, toughness, empathy and sympathy, and laughter, where the binding material is vulnerability and love, helping us reconnect with ourselves again, our fellow humans and our Mother Earth. And all we can do is just trust life. But isn't this really the beauty of it? Because eventually, what is of the destination if it hasn't been a well-lived journey? Holy shit! You don't have to be fearless, because no one really is. But be courageous, and act regardless of it anyway.
All right, so who's coming? It's so good. Every single time I see this video, I'm so inspired always, and it hits the core. Can everyone hear me, by the way? Maybe you can do something in the chat.
Yes, sure.
Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
there's still, can you guys still see the presentation? It's black now.
Yeah.
What about now?
No.
No, next slide.
I can see something about Kathmandu.
Yeah. Okay, cool. There's people out there. Some are still coming in. Know that this is being recorded for the reason that people can always watch it back. So more people signed up. They couldn't be here present, but this is going to be recorded. And what I just really felt is that every single time when I see this beautiful video, it really inspires me, because it kind of hits the core of everything that actually gave birth to a Neverending Journey, which was really creating this moment of connecting with the people, like the vulnerability, the worlds, coming back to the core of it and the simplicity of it. And then we start to discover that what I always say, in everything we do, we become. Nature will always be part of our nature. So that's why I'm always, yes. Hi, everyone. Good that people are putting on the video cameras. It's love the faces. And going back, understanding that we are also partly responsible for nature, and we are part of nature. And when we start to realize that these worlds, like our external environment, also happens on the inside, we can kind of connect to each other through the things we have in common, our feelings, our emotions, and the worlds that we share in this beautiful journey called life, whatever it may take and wherever it brings us, to the ups and the downs, like what definitely happens in Nepal as well. And yeah, welcome everyone. This section is kind of like the build-up of today, and what they always say there, like what to do Kathmandu. That's the one that was put here. It's the build-up of the evening regarding everything that's going to happen with the Journey Nepal. For the people, a few of you know me, I rarely really talk about the things that I did, I think, but maybe I can give you a little bit of background, and then I want to explain shortly what a Neverending Journey is and what inspired this, as I kind of did already, and then more into depth regarding the Journey Nepal. So here we go. All right. It was funny to make this slide. Can everyone see the slide? Okay, cool. Yeah, because it's quite a list of things that happened in my life, where I've been, the people I've met so far, and it's rarely something I talk about. And because for me, and that's the reason why I'm actually showing it, is because does this list define me in a way? I don't think it necessarily does, but it's more like the human side to everything that I'm trying to carry within, and also connecting with others. That's for me what's most important, and especially the dedication that we can have towards ourselves and also in life in general. But it took me to some places indeed, and I'm happy about that. So also getting to this point was what's needed: a lot of courage, a lot of humanness, really being able to connect with people. And that's why I got the opportunity to meet the Dalai Lama, that I managed to lunch with the royal family in India, that they invited me actually, and many more things as on the list. And this is, this is me partly. And here's a video that will show a little bit more about my adventures. Is that sound? Yeah.
Woo! You think it's hot, Oscar? Oh!
I'm not sure if the sound is running smoothly, is it?
Come on, big fella, you drunk, big fella. 2 sips and now you want to trip, big fella. You not a drinker. I can see it all in your leg, big fella. You wobbly, big fella. You finna fall. Sit down, you drunk, big fella.
All night I've been drinking, 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 all night I've been drinking,
Everybody outside when I pull up outside all night though. Everybody high five, everybody wanna smile, everybody wanna lie, that's nice, no. Oh, now you wanna chill, oh, now you wanna build, oh, now you got the bill, that's cool though. Oh, now you got the gas, oh, now you wanna laugh, oh, now you need a cab, that's true though. All you do is talk, I ain't got shit to say. Can't no one get in my car, I don't even valet. Long discussions, oh, you my cousin? No, you wasn't. You just want to ride. You just want to talk about politics, Chicago shit, and rocket shit. Start dancing, ho.
Wil je dat zeggen tegen de camera misschien? Zoals je ziet, we worden nu gewoon getrakteerd. Getrakteerd op een stukje Himalaya.
All right. The last part you couldn't hear properly, I know, but I felt like leaving it in there. It's just a funny point. Yeah, what can I say is that one of the things that I learned through traveling and through being outside, and especially connecting with other people, was the things, again, that we have in common, that it doesn't matter where we come from, what background we have, the age that we carry, the religion, you name it. But what we all have in common, obviously, is the feelings and everything that we feel from the inside. And that's something that brought me to many places, as you have seen. And is actually what kind of inspired me to create more of this, and to guide people through these beautiful journeys, and simply the journey of life, like walking side by side in this whole process, and also always emphasizing on the importance and the value of doing this as a group. So that's kind of what inspired me and what brought me here, actually, that now through a never-ending journey, we went to Nepal, we went to the south of France. We went to the Black Forest. We did several camping and connecting journeys. We did some reconnect events in the tree houses. And hopefully, I'm so massively inspired. We can go this year to Nepal. I spoke with my brothers over there, my Nepali friends, and they're actually the ones who became friends after I spent time with them during the trekking and everything. And how it looks like now, there's good news, but I will get to that later. I think I explained the Neverending Journey, practically all the steps that we take and the things that we have in common, because I'm a firm believer that, yes, understand that it will always be a lonely path in a way, because you can only walk yours, but we can still share the path of life and help each other and encourage each other through that process by, first of all, letting each other know, or simply by your presence and sharing that you're not alone in this, that we all carry this beautiful journey of life through our own processes. And it's actually much more that we have in common by simply showing what we have on the inside, so other people can relate to it. Here we go, Nepal. Here's some images of everything that's happening over there with the treks and everything.
Guys, where are we?
We are in heaven.
What the hell? Os, waar zijn we?
Annapurna Base Camp, brother. Look at the 360.
Gaan we een rondje draaien?
Zeker.
Jazeker. What the fuck, Martin? Holy shit. Oh.
These are a few images. As you saw in the beginning, there was the car ride, which is a typical way that you get dropped off at the last village, kind of before you start the walking, because many parts of the trekkings you can't even get there by car. So that's a beautiful part of this. There can't be any laziness involved in this process, and it's good to see that you grab your stuff till the last point that you can drive up to. You even start earlier, you pack the bags, and then you start on walking. And then obviously the first few days, you're just like, all this, the soreness in the muscles and the legs and everything, and the backpack on the back. And then after day 3, 4-ish, you start to get the groove, and then you walk more. And it's beautiful to see how we kind of get accustomed to walking 6 to 8 hours a day. And still managing to do so. And I will share a little bit more also about the fitness level that you need and everything concerning it. There's 3 phases to the journey. And the first one is the pre-journey, which actually has to do with everything that is involved before the actual journey. I will explain a little bit more in a bit. The journey is the part itself, and then the post-journey, like what are things that actually happen afterwards. So these are the 3 phases that we kind of walk through. And yeah, let me guide you through it. Okay, let me check this one. Who are the neighbors? The pre-journey. There's a gear workshop. We'll explain a little bit more. There's guidance in the processes. So what does actually need to happen before you actually leave? Because as you can imagine, there's a lot of things we have to arrange before we go. And these are the things that we will also guide you through and help you through, like what happens with the visa, share the information about it, what type of insurance, what flights can you take, all of that stuff. Then also there's a physical preparation, saying this is the hardest one that you can do so far. Let's say out of all the journeys we have, it's the most challenging. But there's a good reward for walking up there. And we will definitely just support it with more images in a bit. There's a gathering, most likely live, which means we're most likely combining it also with the gear workshop. So the gear workshop will also take place at a physical store. So you get to see the physical stuff, you show up, and at that moment, we also kind of give you the adventures package that we are assembling right now to give you a kickstart and some excitement for the journey. So that's gonna look very nice. There's also another option, it's called the fundraising. As you guys might know, we have been fundraising for a while for Nepal, and there's an option to also do this individually in the future. And this is something that I will be explaining in a bit. So now we're just gonna start with gear workshop, and then the rest will follow in the pre-journey phase. The gear workshop, yeah, what to expect. It's actually very simple and basic. We go to a physical store. We we have a fixed spot that we go to. When you get there, we can explain a little bit more about what kind of shoes do you take on these journeys, what is important to wear, but also being very honest and open in terms of the gear that you have to take and the things that you should buy, or maybe you can also rent over there or whatsoever. Because obviously, I think many times it can sound very big, such a journey, because it's 21 days, 10 days of trekking, which is making some serious ascents and descents along the way. So maybe there's some questions, obviously, like how do you dress up for this? Like, should we go like what you see in the movies and the documentaries on Netflix? And not, this is not like this one. But we need, it's good to bring some stuff, but I will also be honest in terms of, should you get it like very good quality, or should other things, can they work if you buy them there in terms of socks or maybe a jacket or a typical backpack? So we don't necessarily have to walk with all the North Face gear and all the A quality, because I don't think it's necessary. And this is something we will also just explain during the gear workshop. What kind of items do you have? How do you build up the layers? Everything that you can bring with you. And then you can also address like what you may need or don't want to buy yourself. So we can always find a way, if there's some way of for rental and whatsoever. So having said that, there's a gear list, simply also besides what we tell you to bring, also more the personal items. So preparing for the trekking. So simple things as a head torch. There's the things that come up now, to bring a buff, and those are things that I think are very essential to place where you go to, but sometimes we forget, but we can just simply bring those. Let me check the adventures, the shop. Yes, there's some discounts as well. So know that the store is one of the places that you can also buy stuff with discount. And there's also some other partnerships that we have where you can get more discount. So know that these are, there are a lot of options within this that we will also just really help you to get you the best deals. And simply, if you don't want something particular to buy, once again, know that we're also having stock in terms of stuff that we can always just simply rent out if you know you're not really going to use it anywhere in the future. So, and the adventures package, I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it's gonna be cool. Last time we did, for instance, to Forest Lands, we had the backpack you can see on the back that we got sponsored from Nomad. There was a t-shirt that we added, which was from organic cotton. Everyone got this beautiful steel cup, the animal cup. What else was there? The typical spork that you get, and also the adventurous food that you bring when you go camping. You add water and then it's done. So we assembled a beautiful package actually. And the previous time when we went to Nepal, we got a few items sponsored, such as the jacket and a few other things. And shoes, actually, we got shoes sponsored as well. So please know that we're working hard and doing our best for giving some additional stuff and to make it extra more fun. This is the gear workshop. By the way, I completely forgot to mention it. If there's any questions in the meanwhile, please let me know in the chat. know that there will also be a question round at the end if there's any questions left. So either you feel like asking them now, or you can also just write them down somewhere and then we can come back to them at the end. Both is okay. The gear workshop. Let's see if this works. This is the gear workshop, for instance. Hey, that's a beautiful video. Right, Aisha? It looks good, huh?
Just watching it, I was like, I know this one.
Yes. Aisha is a director and an editor, and she's a friend of mine, and she made this video actually. So it's funny she edited this one. The guidance, the pre-journey. So how to arrange your visa, what are the processes, what are for you the options? You can do them, for instance, online beforehand, but you can also do them at the same spot. And we'll also simply explain to you, okay, what are the differences, what takes more time where and whatsoever. And in terms of price, there's also a difference, but I simply felt like showing you this so you know that you're not being thrown in the deep and it's like, okay, you sign up and okay, what's going to happen now? Don't worry, be happy. I'm going to help you out with this process. Insurances and flights to pick will also help you, guiding you through this. There's someone joining. Yes. And the things that are obviously most important to arrange in terms of priority. So what are the first things that you have to keep in mind when you go there? And you will also simply be getting some informational stuff about the people there. And hopefully we will also try to go on a call with the people that I know there. So kind of like my friends, but also the people from the tracking agency. If we can just make a short movie, or just if you feel like joining. This is so funny. This guy learned a few words in Dutch, and he's a joker. He's a big joker. He's a lot of fun. So I'm definitely sure that these people, if you get to meet them, it's the good stuff. You will also be guided in terms of informed on the status of the Big C, let's say. How it is now at this moment is that you have to enter the country, and you kind of, if there's a negative thing, a test, or you have the what's the thing again? The vaccination, then you don't have to go in quarantine. They advise a quarantine, but as we enter as a company and through the tracking agencies, they are responsible for the quarantine. The only thing I can say, forget about the quarantine. As in, when you come, there's no quarantine. Simple as that. So that's one of the things that I think is most important for you to know now in terms of when do you arrive? How does it work? Is it the day before? Should we come way earlier? Yes or no? In how it looks like now, it takes off in the same way as it used to. Guidance, all right. Physical preparation, let's see if it works. There we go. Yeah, what to expect. So the fitness level required. As I mentioned before, it's the most challenging one we've had so far. That is part of the package that we have now out of all the journeys. Obviously, it's a big difference because if you look at, for instance, one that comes close to it is now the Journey Forest Lands, which consists of 3 days of trekking, and yeah, out of that 2 days of camping. In Germany, you don't really have these altitudes in the Black Forest compared to Nepal. And it's a little bit more flattened out in Germany. And obviously here, you're walking for 10 days. So that means you're practically walking 7 days more and more hours because the distances are bigger as well. So most likely you'll walk around 6-ish average per day walking, and it's beautiful because you really get to experience that. It becomes kind of a meditation. The days fly by. There's always beautiful stops that I will show you in a bit also, where you can have lunch. So it's challenging. Yes, it's challenging. So to be honest, the last time we had, I was very fit, so I easily managed to do so, especially because I was already training at home, not doing special stuff, but keeping myself fit. Um, but we had one guy, for instance, he got his knee injured in a way, like his tendons. He had some serious pain in his tendons, so he couldn't continue the trek. Normally, this shouldn't be a problem. The thing is, it requires a different kind of preparation, because there's a lot of going up and going down, as in kind of big steps. And I will show you also in a bit. It's a little bit more heavy on the knees, but it's especially the tendons. And the tendons, we can strengthen them, but they take a longer time to strengthen compared to your muscles. So having said that, the physical preparation will also just be in videos and will take place at least 3 months beforehand, so you can have a proper preparation in terms of coming. So what follows? The exercises to do at home. There will be just a series of videos that you can follow, but also at the gym. Think of the steps that you can take. If you want to take it next level, feel free to bring a bag or a backpack, fill it with books or anything, and just walk. Sometimes I have these big duffel bags, thingies that I put on my back, and then I walk for a while. And these are just simple ways also to exercise at the gym and to strengthen the legs, and what you can do outside, obviously. So there's a little bit for everyone, something. That's the physical preparation part, still part of the pre-journey process, which most likely will be videos. And we're looking into creating one day that can maybe more a resemblance of a typical day of walking. So we can kind of get together and then get to experience, like, okay, what if you bring a bag? What if it has this weight? Then how does it work, to get a feel of what you can expect? The fundraising, there's also a fundraising option. There's some videos that I would love to share later if I get the chance. These ladies have been running an NGO, and it's called Feed Nepal. It started off providing simply the food for the children in one of the poorest regions in Nepal, in Bhaktapur. It's close to Kathmandu. And I've seen the kids, I've been to the place, I've heard the stories, I've met the ladies, and they're pouring their hearts out for the kids. And I felt like taking it next level, because normally, especially at these places, if it's run by women, it's a very masculine driven country, which makes it very difficult sometimes for women to succeed, because there's always opposition from the men. Well, then they shouldn't mess with me, because I'm on the opposite side always, like really encouraging these ladies to keep going if they feel like it, and making sure they have the least worries that they can have. And one of the things is simply money, as in terms of we were actually the first ones to ask them how they were doing, because everyone was always asking about the kids, if people were fundraising for them and whatsoever, but they never really asked about how they were doing. So the moments that we did, actually, they bursted out into tears, and because that's what she said. She said, like, they never ask about us. It's always about the kids. And then I felt like, okay, we're going to take care of you ladies. So we did a fundraising, and part of the budget actually went to the ladies. So we gave a bigger budget than they wanted. So I said, like, okay, go spend a day, the three of you. There's someone else who joined now. We said, like, if you want to go to a wellness, if you want to go to a massage, whatever you feel like doing. And imagine, it was like, I think 250 euros for 3 persons for all of these things that I mentioned. And they said, like, no, this is way too much. We don't need this. They said, the only thing we want to do is maybe go to one of the favorite restaurants that we have, and go to the cinema. And that's all they wanted, really. And then, obviously we let them do that, and we made sure that they could actually also pay the small salary as volunteers, because one lady couldn't pay her tuition fee anymore, because she was actually being more volunteering at this organization. Then they kind of started to kick her out of school. So then we felt like, okay, don't worry, we'll make sure we'll take care of your tuition fee. So know that there's a lot of options. And if you're interested after the sign up or whatsoever, let us know. We can get you in contact with the ladies as well. And we can always look into creating a cool initiative or something together to make this work. And the information, obviously. All right, these are the kids. Ready? They're so cute.
Yeah, just like they will eat at once. Where's the egg? Already finished.
So the lady here at the background, that's Ayusha, and she's running the NGO. And she told me the story, I forgot actually in the previous slide, about the eggs. They never got eggs before. So this was one of the first times. We weren't the first ones, but there was very recently the first time that they actually got an egg. And they took them home, actually, the cooked eggs. They took them home to share with their families. So it's a real thing. And the food that you saw was the ones we provided. And normally the kids, they actually have to wear uniforms to school, but everyone wear their own clothes, because the parents can't afford to pay for the uniform. So that's why they simply just show up in the clothes. But these are things that through the fundings also gets provided, and the utilities, school utilities and everything that's needed for the kids to give them a future. And having said that, imagine, I don't know if we can imagine in the country and the place that we live in, but simply having two options, as in sending your kid to school, which is costing you money as the parent, or letting your kid go or already go work to earn money. So the choice is many times already made that they send kids actually to school, to work, while they never get the schooling, simply because they can bring in money and not it will cost money. So through this fundraising, we actually want to give them a proper opportunity to actually, the family, not to worry about money because they're taken care of, and give them an education is something that's super important in these types of countries. So this is an option that you can always sign up for. Ready? We're going to the journey, the actual good stuff. Oh, what's happening here? Here we go. Okay, so track, accommodation, volunteering. We're gonna learn the language. You're gonna meet my friends, which is good stuff, but I will explain everything more and what's involved in this whole process, because yes, there's activities, but there's always an underlying current. And that's the program, the inner journey of a never-ending journey. And now, because we actually have the time to work through this concept process, we're actually going through the 6 steps also that is involved, that actually only take place through the journey. So if it's the journey forest lands, the journey Nepal, the journey ocean shores, it always includes the 6 steps that we guide people through. I'll explain more a bit. All right, the trek. It's a 10-day trek. We decided to include 1 day of rest. It was hard, it was needed with the group, but everyone managed it and was beautiful to see. And I want you to realize also, because I'm not sure if there's some questions about the physical fitness that you may have. by that time, there was a lady who wasn't really fit, who didn't properly prepare. And actually the day before we left to the track, she came to me and she said like, Oscar, I'm not sure if I should go on this track because I'm not sure if I'm capable of doing it. And I said to her, don't worry, like you're never gonna be the last one in the line or entering the camp or whatever. So I was always the one in the back. I was just supporting her and staying with her. And yes, it took a while. She was 9 out of 10 times she was the last one being in line, but she managed to do everything, and it gave her such a boost. While actually getting to the last point, the highest point, the 4,500 meters, she was the second one coming up. While there were a few of other ones who were actually fitter that couldn't really continue because yeah, she was driven, you know, and that's also the most important thing to keep you going. And I'm sure everyone can make it. And just as you set your mind to it, and knowing that you're really in really, really good hands with me, but also the guides during the trek. So the guides, yes, they're the proper guides, professional guides, but friends. It's good stuff. They started to learn some words in Dutch as well, and yeah, beautiful. I think they show up here in the pin as well. Yeah, so what is now considered is the Annapurna Base Camp track and Mardi Himal. Annapurna Base Camp track normally takes around 5-ish days, and Mardi Himal you can do in 4 days. And included is one rest day at most likely one of the hot springs in Jinu. And I will show you in a bit what is close to Jinu, because I think it has the longest tower bridge in Nepal also. It's beautiful to see. Annapurna Base Camp track, or yeah, the base camp lies at 4,132. I've been to many places, like really many places, and seen many beautiful skies, night skies. But the one at Annapurna Base Camp is another level, really. I think I saw more stars than I saw black actually in the sky. So it was beautiful to see. You could actually see the Milky Way oak also partly with it was beautiful to witness. And then we move on to Mardi Himal. So practically Annapurna Base Camp. Annapurna itself is one of the 8,000 high mountains. It's one of the most, I think it's the most dangerous one actually, where there's a fatality rate of 30%. But that's when you go up the mountain. Don't worry, we're not going up there. We're going to base camp. You get to see an 8,000 meter mountain. You get to see 7,000 meter mountains surrounding also. It's a beautiful place. The highest point we get to is 4,500 meters. If we're lucky, obviously, if the weather is in our favor, let's say between brackets, because if there's a lot of snow up there, it tends to get a little bit dangerous. But it's a beautiful place to be. Mardi Himal, I think it's the most, it's one of the tracks that I know will become very popular, but isn't necessarily. So it's still like this hidden gem that not many people know about. But it's simply when you get to know the people and you get to move with them, then you get to see these places. So I've never been a tourist. I've always been a traveler, being involved. And that's what I want to give back, like really showing you the world that I lived in there, which was very much simply being with the people. Yeah, a lot of ups and downs. So it's funny because the Nepalis, they call this Nepali flat. Actually, when they say, yeah, it's a little bit up, little bit down. Now you know, but it's not a little bit up and down, but it goes up and down. But it's good. Now you know, and it's just funny to see that when they say, yeah, a little bit up, a little bit down, you know there's work coming, but it's beautiful to see and to experience, actually, to feel what we're capable of doing. Yeah, and during this whole track, there's nothing really to worry about, as in the food. We're staying at the most beautiful tea houses, small houses, simple, with views where you can have your lunch, your breakfast, your dinner. So actually, when you go on a track, there's really nothing you have to think about. Everything will be explained, where you can get water. The only thing that you have to consider for yourself, if you want to bring some extra snacks, but know that along the way, you can also just get some. So nothing really important to mention here. simply know that you're being taken care of, and the right decisions are always made, also in your safety, when it's better for you to stay somewhere or not, and all of that. Here's some images. Yeah, this is close to Annapurna base camp. What you see here, which you can't see fully, is Machapuchre. It's a 7,000 meter mountain. It's one of the mountains that hasn't been climbed yet, summited, because they say Shiva resides on this mountain. So all the attempts of all the people who actually tried to go up, they died actually. But it's a beautiful mountain to see. So let's keep it there. This is the way up to Annapurna base camp. As you can see here, is part of the group. This is the valley where we actually come from going up, and then we end up going here. So this is one of the views that you get to see as well. This was sometimes a small stop that we make with everyone with their backpacks on. One of the things is that we decide also to carry our own backpacks for the proper experience, to really feel like how it is to carry your bag, to get the full experience of really getting somewhere and having made the effort for it. Annapurna base camp, that's here. And as you can see, there's more people there. It's because my friends actually joined. And the good thing is, one of the friends which were going is an English teacher. They're running a school for quite a bit with an American girl. And it's called Learning House, and they're actually teaching English and a few other things. That they have now barista courses and things, really helping to give better future opportunities for the people living in the country. And so Nawang joined, and Sangpo also joined, who is actually, he's a monk. And we're gonna visit the monastery as well, but he's a monk and he decided to come along on this trek. And it was beautiful to have him and the little brother also with us, the Gurung brothers. This was in a local village, beautiful view, as you can see. There's, so this mountain, Machapuchre, is this one from the other side. And this is a typical tea house, what you see here. It's just very plain and basic, but it works. It's practical and it enhances the experience actually. Okay, here comes some videos. Gino, the longest bridge. And this is walking in a camp, for instance. This is where you can have lunch. Like, this is one of the places. Namaste. And that can be a typical route walking up, but this is a point where there's sometimes a tea house and you will just have lunch. Like, it's, for me, it's wow, every single time again to see these places. And as you saw, there were some people coming up. Those are porters, like Nepali people who their work is simply carrying people's bags, and that's how they earn money, and from the tips that they get. One of the things that I'm trying to work on this year is see if we can get some partnerships, collaborations, things as we can bring in, or new items or sample items or secondhand for the porters, for the people there. If it's pairs of shoes or jackets, things that really improve their quality of walking, because they're very extremely hard workers. This is back from Annapurna base camp. No green screen. This is the real deal. And these are typical steps, for instance, that you can experience there also. All right. This is the last night. We'll have a campfire.
Well, it was tough. That's pretty big. Everyone like, yes.
That's Christina in the back, our guide, our friend. And yeah, they're just so, let me see, I think someone wants to come. They're a lot of fun to be with and to spend around. And the beautiful thing is that the last part, we simply just came together. We closed the trekking part, and we actually gave this space where we had the fire. We really had fun on the last night. After 10 days of walking, was a beautiful way to end. All right, accommodation. Yeah, so one of the things that I really encourage always is getting the proper experience. That's why we're not staying in something that is more like a rented house or something. It's actually getting the full experience of the hostels. But these are hostels that I've been to also, and they look really good. I'm happy with those. One of them is in Kathmandu, where we kind of start, and then we move to Pokhara, which is, I believe, the way more beautiful place to be, which is around the big lake and looking into the valley and everything. So that's nice. We're staying at the tea houses during the check, which you've seen already. And the last night is camping. So practically along all the routes, they are established routes. So they have been there for a long time. So you get the kind of simple houses that you can stay in. And the one that you saw before, sitting at the images, that's a simple trekking house. Yeah, what to say? I mentioned this one already. I really want to take you in and to show you a little bit more, but I think the next images gives you more of a proper idea of how we are with the people there. Yeah, up in the left, that's Babu. Was at a small village, which became my friend, the little one. And the second one is Nawang. We actually went out for dinner with them and with Michelle also from Learning House and a few friends from there. And we pretended actually that it was his birthday. So we got him this cake and everything. We said like, oh, it's your birthday. And so we had so much fun. And on this image, for instance, here's Remco with Nawang again, seeing like how we managed to be with each other and treat each other after a while, like brothers, like friends. And this is something that I value and believe in. Here's the group again, with everyone there making it to Annapurna base camp. Beautiful. And this is Deepak, the one who knows some Dutch words. He just became friends. He actually decided to stay because he's not doing the trekking. He's the big boss, let's say, also the friend, but he actually came to the camp, our last night of camping, and he stayed camping as well because he just wanted to spend time with us. So he had this big bonfire and he brought all some drinks and a big cake and everything to have fun. And it was beautiful. And this was actually our last goodbye after the trek when we went back to Kathmandu. Volunteering includes meeting the ladies, and it's simply helping out wherever they need help. This will include at least one day, sometimes two. But it can be quite intense. So we're trying to figure out like how many days in terms of the intensity, because volunteering is more the end of the process and also the end of the phase, which means we don't want to fully exhaust in this process, but simply giving you the proper experience. Like, as you can see here in the back, this school was actually orange and we painted this. So now you can see the green mountains and everything. And this is Ritu, and Ayusha is, where is she? Here. Ritu and Ayusha. And they were actually painting in the beautiful saris, all dressed up because they really felt like helping out. Here's the full image. All right. Well, as you can see here, this was the color of the school in the beginning, and then we managed to paint this and all these sides white. And we made this the jumping part, the 1, 2, 3, so the kids could play. We built the swing as well. But this depends on where they are at that moment that we can help out. But we're gonna meet them, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna take good care of them, and also see if we can help out in whatever it's necessary for them. Yeah, the inner journey is kind of like the whole process that we walk through, the 6 phases, which have to do with many moments in life that we walk through, but even in your lifespan, but also in tiny little phases. And one of them is where we start is get out of the way. And this one has to do with your move towards and move aways. So kind of understanding that we need to identify our surroundings and the people we're surrounded with in several areas in our life, if these are our move towards or move aways. That's the first part. Then we move on to getting out of your own way. So assessing yourself, you and your life. And this is a big one because we're made up of all these stories and everything that comes with it. So we're gonna kind of like reevaluate, take it out of the backpack and look like, okay, interesting. Do I need this? No. And then we move on to the third phase, which is find your way, which is really recalibrating your north and your inner compass. So we know that every decision we can base on certain values and live according to them. So it becomes easier to live your life, to make decisions, because now you know what's happening and what is important to you. Then we go to make way, so kind of defining and creating this life adventure that you are. And then make way, which is always taking action. How can we better take action? What is needed to take action? Or what are the processes within us that happen, and how can we benefit from it? And then I always compare that after we took action, which means like Super Mario got to level 2, we always get to the point that we feel we have done something, we've tried something new, if it's a course, if it's a dancing lesson, you name it, that we always say like, I did this thing and it's so beautiful and I think you should do it as well. Or people see it, they look at you and they say like, wow, you've changed, or your energy is different. What did you do? So intentionally and unintentionally, we always make way, because in service, we give of what we have become. And this is the part where goes hand in hand with the volunteering part as well. How can we now give back as a different person through this 21 days? What can you expect? The underlying current is these 6 phases throughout these 21 days, the group sessions. Not every night, but many nights we'll have a moment where we do a bonfire session. We come together, we check in. There's themes every day or some days that we work with. And there's always one-on-one check-in. So I will always be there to whatever is necessary to guide you through. All right. Then here, what people like to experience. And also the first one, how could he have known? Are we predictable? Yeah, in a way, because I believe we all walk this journey of life. So the phases that I go through constantly and have been through and still going through, we all have. So this is something that you will definitely find something tangible in it to work with, to take home. And yeah, that's it. And this is the closing off. It's in Dutch.
Die bijblijven omdat ze nieuw zijn en anders en je er iets van leert. En ja, soms heb je ze ook alleen natuurlijk. Maar ik vind het met mensen samen dingen beleven, voor mij is dat het leven. Ik zou niet in mijn eentje willen leven.
So to translate it shortly, for me, this was such a beautiful moment that you mentioned, which is that the essence of everything that she does actually enhances the experience, enhances the feeling as soon as it is shared with other people. And this is something that I really want to emphasize on, the power of a group, of a community, of unity, actually. And I believe that that's the medicine and the cure, especially also in the times that we're living. And let's at least create this on a micro scale, and then slowly create a ripple effect through the persons that we become when we make way. All right, last one. The details on Nepal. So the groups are not very big. I tend to keep them small. There's between most likely 11 people, including 2 crew members. Once again, 21 days, 7 October till 28th, and the 4th of November till the 25th. What's included? The accommodation, tracks, the permits, and everything that needs to be arranged for the track. The guidance, so me guiding you through this process, the whole program that comes with it, obviously, all the transportation costs, the physical preparations that you will get also, and the gear workshops and the discounts, and the adventurous package. That's included in the price of $26.26. What's excluded is the flight that you still have to pay. Well, I put an indication here of what a flight normally costs, which I verified today still. The visa, which is more like 30 euros something. The gear that you need, obviously the insurance would probably be like maybe, I don't know, 15, 20. And the food for 10 days. So maybe that's a little bit confusing, but in terms of the included during the trek, it's easier to manage because everyone always eats and does the same thing. But there's 10 days, more or less 10 days that we spend out, let's say, at the hostels and stuff. But not always everyone wants to have breakfast or wants to eat at a different place when we have the rest day. So we felt like, okay, these parts are the ones that you simply decide where you want to be and where you want to eat and whatsoever. And there's a small discount option there. I thought like, okay, let's go. So there's this one, and 19th of March is next week on Saturday by heart. And if there's like a 150 euro discount if you kind of book before the 19th of March, which takes off some of the price, which you can maybe use for other beautiful things that you feel like are, you want to spend your money on. What I also want to mention is that this price for some maybe is too much to pay at once, or they simply prefer to pay it in installments. That's always an option. Simply now in the shop, it's like one single payment. But if you prefer to do it in installments, that's always an option. Simply just drop us an email and then we'll definitely look into that. I think I saw a chat coming in. Let me check what's there. We're actually moving on. Okay. To the last slide. So I don't know if there's any questions so far, if there's anything that one of you still wants to ask. Feel free to unmute yourself and share if you want. Wow, so clear. Good.
I had a question.
Susanna, tell me.
A little one. I was curious about how heavy is the backpack with all the stuff in it?
Yeah, good question. I think we won't exceed for sure not 12 kilos, but I expect it to be around 10-ish.
All right.
Because most likely many of the tea houses, they already have their blankets, but if you tend to be very cold, then you can carry, for instance, your own an extra sleeping bag. But in general, it's not so much that we have to bring, because we're lucky that tea houses, they provide the food, they provide the things. So it's practically just the simple stuff actually. That, but around 10-ish, let's say 10, more or less.
Okay, and maybe I missed it, but the volunteering days, how many days is that?
Yeah, so we're trying to figure out what they actually need. Before we did 1 day, but it was a full day, so it was quite intense actually. But many times 1 day already is sufficient to really help them out. So 1 day, for instance, but it really depends on the moment where they are in and what they actually need. So we had moments that they we went to the school, which was very much focused on the school. So we helped the kids. We learned, somebody donated, for instance, toothbrushes from the Netherlands that we brought. So we learned them actually how to properly brush their teeth because they didn't know how to do that. So we had a small group doing that. The other group was painting the school. I was building a swing with some steel bars that were out there. And we had 2 other girls who were actually making paintings on the ground with the stepping. I don't know how you call it, the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah, the skipping, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah. But I for sure one day, full day, and then maybe 2, but I think from my experience, one day tends to
Ik
be.
hoor nu wat.
Got also a question about the track. How many kilometers a day are we talking about? Just as an indication.
It differs, but I think if I give you an average, it's 12 to 15.
Okay, but you have to make sure that we're also walking at 4,000 meters, so
Yes,
it will be
good.
very heavy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I said it doesn't sound much, but indeed you start to feel, sometimes you can feel the altitude, and at the same time it's a lot of up and down. So that's most likely what's going to affect you in a way. That's why you're not walking that many kilometers. Some days yes, some days less, but there's a lot of up and down. Nepali flat. Susanna and Jamie, was this okay? Was the question answered?
Yeah, about the volunteering.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's answered. Yeah, 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So the main focus is actually, let's say, 3 activities. There's sightseeing, some points. There's the trek. There's the learning the language one day, and there's volunteering. Those are the main activities. And the biggest one, obviously, is the trek of 10 days. And then there's some parts that include the volunteering. Is a beautiful day, but from experience, it's also very exhausting because it's one of the last days. So we tend to keep it short, but brief, but powerful in a way. And yeah. But obviously, I believe that the volunteering already happens the moment you decide to start with the fundraising. And it's beautiful to witness. So it's a beautiful process also.
Okay. And 10 or 12 kilometers a day.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. 10, 12 Nepali flat. You
Yeah.
know. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm gonna close it off if there's no more questions regarding the Journey Nepal for the people who are here for Nepal. If there's any questions, anything, please drop a mail. Then we can always just simply look into it and see what's needed. If there's any questions, please don't hesitate. It's very easy to answer if there's something that doesn't work out for you or whatsoever, or again, in terms of payments, whatsoever, let us know. Then we'll just for sure find a way that we can divide it or whatsoever. So, and that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you guys for everyone who's here for the Journey Nepal. We're soon gonna continue with the Journey Forest Lands. But for those who are here for Nepal, Dhanyavad, as it says there, Dhanyavad is thank you. And one of the beautiful moments actually that now that I do this and I say it, and also obviously Namaste, I remember all these moments that you enter villages or you walk past villages and you see these tiny little Nepali kids. As soon as they see you, they take off, they run away, and they come back with 5 more. And then they stand all on the side, standing like, oh, namaste, namaste. And they keep shouting when you're just 20 meters away, namaste. It's so good. It's beautiful stuff. I get too excited. It's good. This one for me. It's,
Sounds like a great journey.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. All right, people. Thank you once again for the Journey Nepal. And for the people who tuned in now for the Journey Forest Lands, we're gonna start at 12 past. So that's within 3 minutes. So I can have a drink and then come back. So thank you everyone for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, have a good night.
Oh.
Bye.
भेट भयो आज हामी सिन्डिकेटको माझ हामी उभिछु तिम्रो बगलमा बिजी तिमी मोबाइलमा हेरेछु खेलेको यो वन नाम तिम्रो थाहा छैन तर मलाई परवाह छैन बोली केही रहेछौ है आँखाले केही भनिरहेछौ है बोलु त के भनेर डर पनि लाग्छ सोचेर तिमी जाने सिलगुडी म जाने सिक्किमतिर खुसी छु है तिम्रै माझ भुले सारा संसार आज तिमी पनि मसँग नै जान भए कति रमाइलो त्यो भन्न त कस्तो यो मिलन हाम्रो 20 मिनटको सम्बन्ध हाम्रो पाएर पनि नपाए जस्तो चिनेर पनि नचिने जस्तो जिन्दगी यस्तै नै हो र आफ्नै बाटो त जानु छँदैछ र तिमी जाने सिलगुडी म जाने सिक्किमतिर घरी घरी फर्की हेर्छु म पनि आशा सरी बाजा सरी मनमा सोच्दै म रमाउँदछु मनमा सोच्दै रमाउँदछु तिमीसँगै भएको कल्पना गर्छु कस्तो दर्के पानी पर्यो भिजेर म चुरा भए तिमीसँगै ओछ लागि आफ्नो गाडी पर्खिरहे भिजेछु आज म रहरले सबै गाडी चढ्न थाल्यो कमान्डर
All right, we back. Everyone good? Tea ready? Yes, good.
Nee, wacht, we zien jou niet. 3 mensen zien jou niet. Zo. Hallo.
Caroline.
Ja, het geluid doet Karel. Hallo.
Don't worry too much about me, by the way. It's as long as you see the screen, we're good. The screen is available. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Then we're gonna start. I'm gonna mute you guys, and then if there's any questions in the meanwhile, feel free to type them in the chat. But please note that there's also a moment at the end to ask some questions. All right, here we go. Yes. All right, the Journey Forest Lands. What I really, really, really like about this place is that I felt this calling to go there actually, and it seems to be after I found out that I got dreams in the Black Forest that was twice the same actually. Every night when I camped out there by myself, if you see this image, imagine putting your tent out there. Scary, 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 but it was such a beautiful experience. And then I found out that I was actually reading a book called Iron John, which is a book about men, that this story took place there, and I never knew actually. And there's a lot of stories, actually fairy tales, that come from the Black Forest. And why is it called the Black Forest or Schwarzwald? Is because the Romans used to come there. When they came there, they felt that this forest was very impenetrable, so it was difficult to move through. And for me, it was one of the most magical and beautiful places I've seen in Europe so far, actually, especially to spend time in. So I'm happy, I'm super excited and happy that I found this place where, yeah, we still get to experience this full package of being out there in nature and actually being in the Black Forest, Schwarzwald, which is something that is only known to very little people. So that's very cool that they actually opened some trekking camps throughout this place. So welcome to the Journey Forest Lands in Germany. Okay, what to expect? A few of you are already here, a few of you are new, so we're just gonna run a few things once again, probably slightly different. I know, prepare. Enjoy, Susanna. Yeah, so what to expect today or at this moment is simply a little bit more about me, what brought me there, also in the Black Forest, as I just did, and where I come from, a never-ending journey, and then simply the process of the Journey Forest Lands and the current status. I always put status, it feels a bit strange, but regarding the current situation that we are in the world and everything that's happening, and then there's a moment where you can ask questions. So whether you ask them in the chat, I can always answer them, but most likely what you can also do is simply leave them in the chat. And then at the end, I can always have a look at the chat and then simply go through them if that's something that you, if there's a question left to be answered. All right. It feels so funny to share the story again, but here we go. Who am I? There's a few people who I haven't seen yet or spoken to. So I'm the one who birthed a never-ending journey. And the intention of it was really, connecting people. And I learned for myself through actually a lot of traveling, but also especially curiosity in life. Who am I? Where do I come from? Why are the people behaving this way? Why I'm behaving like this? Why does the world move like this? And all these questions actually through knowing people and discovering different places, but also especially putting myself out there. That was the thing, putting myself out there, like physically in nature, in different places, but also putting myself out there in terms of emotionally and mentally and everything that came with it, actually gave me a lot of confidence in who I am right now. That doesn't mean that I'm flawless, because there's a lot of flaws, but I'm okay with them now. So it was this beautiful discovery that I actually went through. And one of the things that really helped was actually traveling. So who am I? I've met the Dalai Lama in the northern part of India where he lives now. I got lost on my motorbike in Mongolia, and then later on in a small, kind of forest, which reminded me quite of the Revenant, which was a scary thing actually, because when I told the locals that I was going on the motorbike by myself, they said like, no, don't go, because there's wolves, there's bears out there. Are you crazy? End of season. end of October, mid-November, it hits minus 30 degrees. And then there's this last white boy just out there in nature hitting in Mongolia. So it was a beautiful experience, actually, that really helped me to trust life, actually. I climbed my first summit in Nepal. So after the Journey Nepal, when we were there, I treated myself with another trek. So I went to Everest Base Camp. I did over 2 months of trekking so far in Nepal. And I actually did my first summit, which was a big peak also to climb to, with the steel ladders that you always see on the expeditions and everything, and the crevasses on the side of the glacier, and putting on your crampons, and very cool, and walking in the night. And it was super, and looking forward to do another one. But I need some more cold therapy, I think. Yeah, I've been on TV in Japan, but also slept on the streets in Sri Lanka. Man, got scammed in China because I believe in the goodness of people, and I will always continue to do so, no matter what. And lunch with royal family in India. And yeah, the list goes on. And the next video that I'm showing you is actually me after dinner many times. The sugar rush.
Woo! You think it's hot, Oscar?
And now there's another beautiful video that's a recap of my travels that I really enjoyed making and seeing back, actually.
Come on, big fella, you drunk, big fella. 2 sips and now you want to trip, big fella. You not a drinker. I can see it all in your leg, big fella. You wobbly, big fella. You finna fall. Sit down, you drunk, big fella.
All night I've been drinking, 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 all night I've been drinking,
Everybody outside when I pull up outside all night though. Everybody high five, everybody wanna smile, everybody wanna lie, that's nice, no. Oh, now you wanna chill, oh, now you wanna build, oh, now you got the bill, that's cool though. Oh, now you got the gas, oh, now you wanna laugh, oh, now you need a cab, that's true though. All you do is talk, I ain't got shit to say. Can't no one get in my car, I don't even valet. Long discussions, oh, you my cousin? No, you wasn't, you just wanna ride. You just wanna talk about politics, Chicago shit, and rocket shit. Start dancing, ho.
Wil je dat zeggen tegen de camera misschien?
You can't really hear what I'm saying, but it was a beautiful flattening.
Zoals je ziet, we worden nu gewoon getrakteerd. Getrakteerd op een stukje Himalaya.
All right. What is the Neverending Journey? It's simply through all these travelings, but simply through life, is that I feel that somewhere we created this illusion that we have to figure life out by ourselves, and that we have to walk through life by ourselves. And this is something that obviously I went through, and then I really felt like it was more of a common thing, that sometimes we felt a little bit different, if it's maybe through the religion or the identity or our racial background or the places that we live. But there's so much more actually that connects us. And that's through the emotions that we all carry, but also this surge, this journey, the walking through life that we all go through. And this is something that I really want to emphasize on, that I truly believe in the power of group and of unity, because we're so used to being these separate islands. And I think it's also a time to slowly let these islands at moments just come together and connect. And it doesn't mean you're giving up your island, But I think it's good that we all have our own journey in life, but we kind of can walk side by side all together. So I think the most important part of it is always that it's always the journey inward. Always. That's always the base of everything that happens. And then many times we seek nature. So we go outside. So we get this connection with our external environment. We get to experience, first of all, what happens on the inside, but also what happens all around us. And I think if you see, actually many of the scriptures, they always come back to the same thing. And that's know thyself. Know thyself. Get to know oneself. And for this, actually, this has been one of the inspirations of this, that we get this exploration of ourselves through obviously being silent and taking these moments for yourself to discover how you function physically, but also mentally, and how you react emotionally. But we need people for that. We need environment. We need to experience. One part is closing your eyes, going inward. And another part, which is just as present, is when we have our eyes open, our senses open, everything that we feel, because there's always, we are interconnected. The light affects us. The plants we look at affects us because it gives us a certain feeling. So the more we start to understand that we are all sharing this beautiful experience of life, the more we can kind of understand and explore ourselves and feel the interconnectedness that we all have in common. Mic drop. All right, here you go. First Lands, 3 phases. Once again, pre-journey, the journey itself, and there's a small post-journey. Many times, the post-journey part is more like a get-together that happens after every journey, because you spend some intense days all together. And then obviously, how nice is it that maybe after 3 months, after 4 months, you see each other again, like, hey, how you doing now? What changed in your life? And the conversation and the people that you get to meet up after a while, they said, like, this moment seriously did change my life. I've seen many people who went on journeys on certain moments, and it was really life-changing for them, because it opened up a door, because they stepped more into themselves, because they learned how to open more towards other people, like big changes. They became more courageous in life. I think that's one of the most important aspects of it. And it's cool to check in with each other and to keep this group going if it continues to want to be together, obviously. All right. The pre-journey, the gear workshop, I'll explain a little bit more in the next videos. There's the gear workshop, there's the guidance in the processes. So the transport, if it's flights or whatsoever, the insurances that you need for these types of things, most likely not the ones that you need above 4,000 meters or when you go skiing or whatsoever. The physical preparation that you can do on several aspects, and again, the gathering. So the gear workshop, maybe for some, it's the first time that you go on such a journey that it's like, oh, I'm going trekking. And the funny thing is we always say like, yeah, I'm going hiking. How many days are you going to hike? And then we say, yeah, 3 days, 3 days. And actually the thing is that a hike, I'm going to give you a fun fact for maybe you know, maybe you don't know. A hike is actually a 1-day walk, and it becomes a trek as you have several days of walking, several days of hiking is called a trek. So when it includes an overnight stay because you continue walking, that's actually already a trek. So you can have a trek of 2 days. And a hike is a 1-day thing that you do. You normally you go somewhere, you come back, or you stay there and it ends. This includes a trek, a 3-day trek. So obviously you've seen some images before of the forest and everything. And again, the big question is, what should I wear? What should I bring? Should I go in the North Face, the Arc'teryx outfit? Should I bring my crampons? Should I bring an ice axe, a helmet? Don't worry, we'll guide you through it. So we'll go to a physical shop as well, a store, where you get to see all the items, how they function, why they function in this certain way, what options do you have, but also pointing out what is important to get of good quality, what are the ones that you don't necessarily need to buy the most expensive one. And all of these things will just address very openly and genuinely with what you need of preferably of good quality, and other ones also of good quality, but not the big brands or anything. Know that we have a list, we know brands, but this will all speak for itself at that moment. So the gear list always includes of the parts that you bring for the outdoor scenes and what you need for inside, to give you a proper indication of what you can bring. But I expect like gear list for an 8-day, this will probably be one backpack of 50 liters to bring at this moment, which once again, also through the gear workshop and the possibility to buy at these locations, know that if you are sure that you're only going to use a backpack once, or simply it doesn't fit your budget at that moment, that you can always rent. So there's always possibilities of some items. If you feel like, hey, I don't want this, I don't think I'm gonna use it more, you can always reach out to us and see what we have. And a 50-liter backpack is more or less like a big, weekend bag, like a duffel bag in size. And the difference, for instance, with Nepal is that the Journey Forest Lands actually includes more of the hiking, more of the camping. So you actually get, if I have to say it, it's actually a little bit more of the real deal experience in a way. It sounds weird because it's not in that sense, but in the sense of camping, yes. Because at this point, yes, we bring our own backpack. Yes, we bring our own sleeping mats. Yes, we bring the tents. Yes, we bring the food for the 3 days. So this is quite of a change compared to, for instance, Nepal, where many things are already a little bit more established. So actually, it can be a good introduction to Nepal in a way, in terms of to feel out, but also we're staying at beautiful trekking camps where we also bring the gas pits because we have to cook the water, and we eat very basic, and we prepare the meals in the small sachets like the oats, and we put in some chocolates and everything that we pack. And it's cool because you get more of a sense like what it actually means when we start bringing more in our backpacks. And that's cool because normally now when we go traveling, we put it somewhere and the belt takes it and we're done. But imagine if you have to carry it for approximately 6-7 hours a day. You're gonna walk light, and that's a good thing. It's interesting and a beautiful process. Again, discounts, adventurous package, which means a package that will kind of kickstart and inspire you for this trek, for this journey. It can include many things, maybe a pair of hiking socks, with a bag, with a buff, with a cup. Everything is still being assembled as the contacts are being made and initiated again. But as you can see a little bit in the background, last year for Forest Lands, we got this day pack from Nomad, a t-shirt from a Neverending Journey, organic, which part of it also went to Feed Nepal. There was a spork, so the spoon with the fork. And we had the cup, the steel cup, the typical ones where you can have your coffee in the morning, when you wake up. And it was also beautiful to get. So it's like a package that you get to get you inspired and to get you going, to kickstart your journey. Let me see. Here we go. Physical preparation. Again, what fitness level is required? In terms of walking, if I compare it, for instance, with the Journey Nepal, the Journey Nepal is challenging. It's the most challenging one. Why? Because you simply walk more days and there's more of going up and going down. And this is also, I know it will challenge in a way, but if you prepare right, then it's something that it's really manageable. Obviously, you have to get used to the weight because this time you're carrying more than you would do, for instance, in Nepal. But it really adds up to the experience to feel every single step. So it's like meditation also, stepping and then next one, okay, you become so aware of everything that you're carrying, which is something I really enjoy. But in terms of altitudes, obviously there's less than Nepal. But a beautiful climb still. We're really going up also in First Lands, and I will show you in the videos later. So what you're getting, a package of videos that you can do at home, other ones at the gym, and other ones while being outside. And yeah, that's it. Next one, the journey itself, what to expect, the trekking in the Schwarzwald, in the Black Forest, the camping that is actually also happening, which is, I think, for me has been wowzers. I think I included a video, I'm not sure, of how a camp looks like. For me, it's massive. And the good thing is that in the days, because obviously it's an 8-day experience, and 3 days of the 8 days we're doing the trekking. So you leave, for instance, on day 1 of the trekking, somewhere in the morning, you walk, you sleep outside camping, and then there's a second day where it's just a full walk. So this is your first night. You have 2 nights of camping, and on the third day you walk maybe till 4 o'clock, and then you arrive again at the city that we go to, the village, and then we drive back to our house, to the place where we're staying. So out of the 8 days, 3 days is trekking, being outside, our stuff stays in the house, and then we come back. So in the off days that we're not trekking, we're staying at a beautiful house. The trekking camps have bonfires, so the intention of the Journey Forest Lands is having a bonfire every single evening to check in with each other. Like, what's going on? Again, this is the journey phases that we go through, that we walk through. At this place, it's a little bit more family vibe going on. So the intention is that we also just simply come together, and every day that we're not walking, we decide together, like, okay, what are we having for dinner and what are we having for lunch? And then there's always some volunteers that sign up. The breakfast always kind of stays the same. And they have beautiful inside stays and outsides to have breakfast and to have bonfires. Oh, these houses are next level. But I'll show them in a bit. This is part of the forest. And then there's this one. Doen we dat toch? Dat kan sowieso wel. It's beautiful dance, like all over the place. And sometimes you walk through all of these areas and you get the smells and the sun rays that just come in. And as you saw on the backpack, on the back, how the glow that it gives, and as you can see, we're walking down and other parts we're also walking up. So it has a little bit of both. And this is the highest viewpoint, for instance, on the second day. And then you come from all the way down there. Yeah, and what I want to mention, that I keep saying it, that 50, maybe less even, maybe let's say 70, 30% is a physical thing and 70% is really a mental thing. On this journey, we actually had a lady joining us who had vertigo and also asthma, and she managed to do it actually, and it was super cool to see. And it was a tough one for her, but she managed to do it, so it was beautiful. And this is a typical bonfire, for instance, a small moment.
Easy, to be honest. Like, I really have like a certain path that I wanna. Yeah. Until yesterday, I wasn't clear about it, but after yesterday, I was like, okay, yeah, this is where I want to go to. And some questions were easy to answer, but some questions I was like, the one with the persons or the people, what was the question? That I was struggling a bit with. yeah, the moveaways and then the people. That was the thing I was struggling a bit with, because I found it quite hard to note.
And this is a typical moment that we actually, many times we open the morning, which is actually the next video. We open the morning where I kind of introduce the theme of the day through those phases that I will explain in a bit. And then at the night, we kind of come together again and we check in with each other like, hey, how was it for you? How are you feeling today? What's happening? Because understand that there's several worlds coming together at one specific moment to also, in a way, yeah, obviously for themselves, but also to create this connection all together and to have this beautiful experience all together. So a lot of stuff happens and we move through moments, and the beautiful thing is when we start sharing them, they can go. When it gets addressed, they release its power. And that's something that you get to witness at these beautiful moments that I really enjoy around the bonfires. And this is the house actually where we're staying in June and September. And this is the back of the house. And this is during the night. And now you can see during the day. I forgot to mention it actually in the previous one as well. Every single morning always has a moment of what I call sacred silence. So there's always 1 hour when we wake up, and normally from 8 till 9, that there's no talking. So everyone is just simply having some time for themselves. Some go for a walk, some want to journal, but really having this ease of waking up and feeling oneself first, connecting with oneself first, before we immediately go into conversation and chit chats and blah. And then there's always breakfast. And this is, I think, a moment of, I'm not sure if it was silent, but this is a morning from the other side.
Okay, I'm not gonna write that down now because I just have to think about it.
Yeah, it was not silent, silent moment, but this was the moment that, for instance, I explained something about the phase that we went through, and that there were certain questions. And as you see, I mean, this back garden for me is like wowzers, that you get to stay during the day also when we're just chilling. And this house is literally located in the forest. So you walk out the back door and you can literally just walk into nature. It's super cool. It's really cool. The accommodation. Yeah. So the house that you just saw, maybe it's good to know that in June and September, it's a very extremely beautiful house. But I want you to know, obviously, that in June and September, there's a shared room. So you always share the room. There's not many rooms. So that's something maybe for you to keep in mind also. From what I know from previous experiences, always having or sharing the room is that eventually having a roomie after such a long time is actually a funny and beautiful thing that that many times also the good conversations come from when you lay in bed and certain topics come up and you talk about the day or stuff that comes up. And it's something that I really enjoy. I'm a big loner, but at moments I really enjoy these moments of connection, of having this opportunity to talk and to simply spend time again. Like you went, remember those days that you went camping or do something with school and you had to stay together. It always gives me those vibes. And July and August, it's your own room. It's a different place. It's a different location, beautiful house. And during the trekking, it's always shared. The reason why there are very limited spots for the trekking, which allows up to, I think, 9 people in total to stay at one trekking camp, which means 3 tents. And we have to divide those 3 people. We have to divide those among the tents. So either way, I'm sure that the trekking nights are not necessarily going to be your best sleeps, but a beautiful experience. But that's for sure, for the memories. All right, as you can see here, July and August, that's this house place. This one includes actually, there's a hot tub, I think. outside, and there's a hot tub outside, and there's a sauna. This one is located a little bit more in the village. And this is one of the common rooms that you can just stay. We'll have breakfast, but we can also just simply sit outside. And this is how it looks like. As you can see here, there's a small hot tub also. And this is your own room, this place. And June and September is here. As you can see, it's massive. This house is here. You walk in like into the forest if you want to go for a walk. That's where we will be staying. This is like our back porch, where here's the bonfire section. Here's a table, which we normally put here somewhere. And there's a barbecue as well at both places actually. And this is simply the other side. So here there's shared rooms, and this is own room. In a journey, 6 phases. I'm gonna explain it briefly. If you want to know more, let us know. But one of the things that I really emphasize on is the importance of the inner journey. So it became a full package, also adding the activities and everything with it. But if you simply come for activities, maybe this is not the place you want to be at, because this is also going to challenge you emotionally. This is also going to challenge you in certain ways, simply spending time with people, but also with the questions and everything that we offer, let's say. So one of the things is the personal guidance within this that we want. Yes, it is a lot of fun. And the thing is, what I like about life is I see it as something light, as an adventure. So, and that's what we're simply going to experience. And it brings a lot of everything, and that's super nice, but that's what creates a connection with the group. So if you're looking for simply the activities, then I don't think this is the place for you to be. But if you think like, oh, I want the full package of really also going inward and being outside, then I would say yes. The 6 phases of the journey, there's 6 phases. And it actually, they connect all again. Which one of the first one is, let's start with Super Mario. He gets to a point where he stands, he's level 1, and he thinks like, oh, I want to go to level 2. So that's the point, the phase that we have in many moments in our lives. It's called get out of the way. We're going to define the place that we want to move towards or move away. In this case, for instance, Super Mario wants to go to level 2. All right, so Super Mario walks, and then he gets challenged. Obviously, there's things he has to encounter and stuff happens. So the second phase is getting out of your own way. This is the part where we start to assess our lives and the life around us. So simply we'll start to assess ourselves and our lives. Because I think it's important to realize like all the stories, all the baggage, everything that we're carrying with us, to really start to understand like, okay, if I want to go to level 2, what am I still carrying that actually doesn't serve me anymore? So we can always walk away from stuff or move towards stuff, but there will always come a point that we get to bump into ourselves. And this is the chance, the opportunity that we get a small moment, a full day to look at this part. Which brings us to the third phase, which is find your way. And find your way is really after having encountered yourself, assessing yourself, is again recalibrating your inner compass. For me, this is key to understand how we function, because there are certain life values that we believe in, that we live, and also the priority in the hierarchy of it. Because the more we start to understand our life values, the easier it becomes to understand our behavior, and vice versa. Because if we know that, for instance, communication or connection is important for us, if we know that, we can also dilute it into actions and things that we want to do. So when we encounter different moments, decisions that we have to make, we can always say like, okay, but this one says connection and this one disconnection. Connection means this decision. So that's phase 3, find your way. And now that we know we have recalibrated our inner compass, and we know in abstraction what it means, we go to create your way, which means giving shape and form to these life values. So how do they manifest themselves in your life? How are you as a life adventure going to be like? How's your landscape going to look like? So we're now going to define this, all more tangible stuff to work with also. After we've done that, Super Mario knows what to do now, and he sees it all in the plan, and it goes here, and oh yeah, and then I go left there, and la. But obviously, Super Mario still has to do it. He has to face Bowser. He has to go there to defeat the end boss to get to that point, which means all the way. There's always this phase that we need to move. We need to move into action, or sometimes that means also non-action, but it's important to realize for yourself, where do you stand? How can you best do that? What is your next step to make? And how are you actually going to do it or not do it? Make way. So after Super Mario faced Bowser, he did it. He made it to level 2. So now he's there and he's on top of the thing, and he feels like he wants to give something back. And I think at that point he started saving the princess. I don't know how this story goes on, or the game. But we always get to a point that we did a course, we came back from a beautiful experience, we tried something new, we went to a dancing class, we learned how to cook something. We always want to give back, intentionally or unintentionally. Always say like, hey, I did this. Let me show you how this works. You should try this out. I've done this. Or people, you come back, who knows, maybe from Forest Lands, and you come back and people say like, wow, what happened? You're glowing, you feel different. And you say, we always want to give back. And then directly or indirectly, we're always giving back. So I always say, in service, I give of what I have become. In service, I give of what I've become. Because we constantly change, we evolve. But every single time we're given the opportunity to give this new version of ourselves to someone, to a situation, or to discover, to explore, it happens anyway. And it's this process of getting Mario to level 2, for instance, and then reaching out his hand from a little bit higher and always wanting to be there. So make way is always part of the process that we want to give back, which is beautiful, because that's why we're here with more people on this world, because this is part of our nature. And then the beauty of it, and that's what I actually did mention in the previous one, after we made way, the 6th phase, so the last one, make way, giving back, there's always this moment that we arrive to a different point in our lives where we practically say, what about level 3? What about this? What if my surroundings actually, I can't identify anymore with my surroundings or with the people I'm around with or the environment. So there's always a moment where we go back in the phases where we say like, okay, where do I stand now? Which way do I want to go now? So we go back to get out of the way. Again, move towards move aways. And this is what makes it a never-ending journey. It's always a constant change, phases that we go through, that we come out, that we are in, we go back. And that's the beauty of it, because the more we start to understand that it is never ending, the more we can give it the true value of it, because you're never really going to get somewhere. So let's just enjoy the journey of life. Yeah, this was a beautiful one. The first one, so what people experience, one said, whether you think you need it or not, it will give you exactly what you need. And the combination of being outside and connecting is the best. And what I really like is sometimes people come with big expectations and they say like, oh, I'm going to do this, it's going to be so much fun and la, la, la. And then eventually, boom, something comes up, happens inside of them, and then we work through them. But it's beautiful to see that eventually it always gives you what you need where you stand in life at that moment. And that's something also to emphasize on, that many people, they always, one of the things is that they always come back more connected to themselves. One of the things is they always come back more courageous, willing to make new steps in life, but also again, remembering and understanding and truly experiencing the beauty of truly connecting with each other. And this is something where I believe we can really make steps, because now you're consciously, intentionally choosing to spend 8 days with each other, with people that you don't know, and seeing the process within that. If you allow yourself to be yourself fully, and if everyone does that, what a beautiful connection it makes, and how you come back as a fellowship, no strange anymore. You come back like the Avengers all together. And why? Because everyone has their own role. Everyone is simply themselves. And as soon as everyone allows themselves to be, the puzzle comes together. And that's beautiful to witness. All right, let's hear.
Die bijblijven omdat ze nieuw zijn en anders en je er iets van leert. En ja, soms heb je ze ook alleen natuurlijk. Maar ik vind het met mensen samen dingen beleven, voor mij is dat het leven. Ik zou niet in mijn eentje doen.
Yes. Beautiful. So simply experiencing with people is what makes life. That's what she said. And I'm a firm believer of that, because understand that our journey will always remain. Our journey, our individual journey will always be there. But some parts we can simply just share together. And I think we can really do that. We can encourage each other. We can help each other move forward, to help each other stand still through all these moments. All right, here's some images of forest lands and all the green that you get to see. And as you can see here, there's a bonfire, one of the places that where we check in the night. These are just simply some parts of the forest where you walk through that you get to see. This can be a typical way to walk, but this is also altitude gain that you see here. That this one can continue up, for instance, at moments, and other times we go down. And this was more of the last part, which was a lot straight and then suddenly quite a lot down as well, to descend actually here to this beautiful lake, where it's actually the kind of like the last moment that you're still really in the Black Forest, and you can take a swim there also. So we went for a swim as a closing off of the 3 days of walking, and it was a beautiful, extremely beautiful lake. And then we came back and we went to an Italian place, which was in the village, and we ate there all together, still with all the smelly clothes and with our backpacks. And it was such a celebration all together before we got back to the house, which is here, which we can also barbecue and stuff. All right. There's a lot more dates on this one, so maybe it's good to see. It also depends on where you go. It depends a little bit on the group size as well. So this is what we have right now. As you can see, it's always, the duration is always 8 days. Why 8 days? Because we need 6 days for the 6 phases. And then there's always like an arrival departure date that we kind of want to have the margin within that. And as you can see here, Journey 1, the one in June and September, again, is it says it here, is the one for 7, and the one for July and August, so the middle two, is the one for 9. And again, I think in the previous slide, this is the house where you share. June and September, and July, August is where you have your own room. Then again, June, September is the beautiful house in the forest. The other one is more in the village. Included accommodation, the tracking, again, all the guidance and the physical preparation and the gear workshop and the adventures package, everything that comes with it. And then excluded is transport to location. For some, maybe it raises a question mark, because the Black Forest is more or less 8 hours driving from here, 7 to 8. We always manage to do it with carpooling. So this was actually an easy one from people who came from different places to kind of together to drive to the same place. for several reasons, for transport, for cost, just simply helping each other out. The gear you need to bring, I think maybe especially for this one, not everyone needs everything. So just simply know that there's always an opportunity for a rental, and the insurance. And the investment for this one is $13.45 for all the journeys. It doesn't matter what date. And then there's kind of like a last one. The discount option, we did one here as well. Same for the 19th, Saturday the 19th. There's a €100 discount if you use the Forest Lands Early Adventure discount code. If it's $13.45, once again, this is a single payment. If you want to come, but you can't, for you it's more practical, more feasible, whatsoever, to do it in installments, then please send us a message and we'll find a way that works for us and that works for you as well. And but don't worry about in terms of paying it at once, or if you need some space for that, that's always an option. And for that, you can always send it here to info@neverendingjourney.com. And this has been Forest Lands, which for me, I'm so grateful and excited to go back actually 4 times this year, because for me, this location has been massive. As you've seen in the previous slides and images, I've visited many places across the world. But for me in Europe, this one has been massive for many reasons, because it must say something that many fairy tales came from this place. It must say something that I felt drawn to this place and I simply went there. It must say something that I had the same dream twice in the night when I slept in the Black Forest. There's such a interesting energy going on there. It's so dense, so beautiful, so mystical, that I know it always kind of gives you and brings up what simply needs space. And that's something that I really enjoyed there and to experience, besides obviously all the beautiful green pine trees and walking up and the sounds and the smells, and then camping and making your coffee in the morning with the gas stove, and then cooking the water because you have the small package with adventure food where you add the water and then you mix it and then you have food, you know. It's so cool. What I really like is that here you get a proper camping experience, and that's something nice to witness. And this time, obviously, under the safety of me and the surroundings at places where we are allowed to camp as well. And that's it. I don't know if there are any questions regarding the Journey Forest Lands, then this is also the moment to ask.
Not really a question, but now I want to join both. Thanks, Oscar.
I know. I feel the same thing, you know. I mean, I feel so blessed. I'm really trying to find a way, because obviously this costs some effort and time for myself as well. But for me, after all the traveling and stuff, I really feel like, okay, how can we create like proper experiences that aren't necessarily activity based, but really bring you to some solid parts of the world, of Europe, but really have this experience of it wouldn't be my case, a touristy thing. I want you to learn, to experience the real deal at both places. And for me, this place, I'm so massively excited, inspired, confident that everyone who comes here, if it surprises me already, I know that everyone would love it for sure. I get it, Jamie. I feel you, man.
Hey, Os, je zegt, sorry, ik ga het even in het Nederlands doen. Ja. Echt te moe om in mijn hoofd die translate te maken. Okay. Je zegt tegen ons dat we dus 3 dagen daar in de bossen gaan rondlopen. Mm-hmm. Toch?
Ja.
En 2 nachten daar blijven.
Ja.
Toch? Ja, ik heb echt nog nooit gekampeerd. Dus ik weet niet zo goed wat ik me daarbij moet voorstellen.
Oké.
Weet je, zijn er beesten? Weet je, moet je iets... Het is een vraag namens die anderen hoor, die niet durven te
No,
stellen.
it's okay. I mean, is it just concerning animals or is there more? Or should I just simply explain the experience of camping?
Ja, en nou ja, kamperen. Dus de vraag die ook werd gesteld was... waar je eventueel je behoeftes moest gaan doen en dergelijke.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a good question, legit. Okay.
Oké.
Anymore?
Dus dat is het een beetje. Ja, voorlopig. Ja, ik weet het niet. Maar zover dit.
Okay, I'm gonna translate it because this is a recording, so people can look back. The question was simply, I never camped before, so what happens? What is the experience of camping? What happens? What is out there? And simply what happens when we need to go to the toilet or whatsoever. These trekking camps, let's say, are, I think, very established. They're being taken care of by what we call here in the Netherlands, Staatsbosbeheer. So there are forest rangers taking care of the trekking camps. So at some places, they actually build spots, kind of, or platforms where you can sleep on, put your tent on. And every single camp actually has a place for a bonfire. And they put wood over there so you can have a bonfire at night also to enjoy. And every camp has a eco toilet where you can sit on. So every camp has a place where you can just do whatever you want. Obviously, don't expect one that they have in Japan with the heaters and the sprays and the massage function, but it works. It does the job. So they're very well established camps. You sleep in nature, so of course there's bugs. It's not that you don't see them all, but obviously mice, so mice plural, they live in the forest. But these are just some practical things that in order to not they won't come in your tent unless there's food. So some practical things that you normally hang your food outside, you leave it outside. So there's no reason for mice to come into a tent or anything like it. But there's no animals or anything that you need to be careful of in terms of that are dangerous. There's no wolves or bears that are life-threatening or whatsoever. And so I think that's it. In the Black Forest or in the villages, I don't know if I should mention this, but they have wasps. They're called killer wasps. It sounds very dangerous. They're not very harmful to people. They're not aggressive, but they're very big. But they don't disturb you. They just fly around. They always seek the light and the heat and that kind of stuff. But that's it. That was the only thing that surprised me. That I felt like, okay, I've never seen such a big wasp, but that's it actually.
En als jij zeg maar juni, augustus, september, oktober gaat, tot september, welke weersomstandigheden of welke maand heeft de beste weersomstandigheden als je de bossen ingaat?
So the question was in terms of the months, so June, July, August, September, which month how does it change? How does the climate change or the weather? We chose these months because they're actually the best months to trek, to be outside. So it doesn't really matter what month you pick. These are the most stable months of the year in the Black Forest. So even in September, we had days where I think we had like nearly 30 degrees when we actually left later than we will do now. We left on the 19th and then we stayed till the 26th. And now we leave on the 12th till the 19th. So it obviously you're always dependent on the weather, how that goes. But it's also beautiful to see like how do we deal with change and how can we move accordingly.
Maar stel het regent ineens in juni of zo heel erg. gaat dan het kamperen door? Of,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Then we just kind of dress up, and I mean, the question was like, what if it's there's a lot of rain in June, then we can, I mean, everything is always up for discussion. One thing is for sure, it won't be canceled. The event still takes place. We can still go there. We can always find a way to kind of have this experience once again. But these are the most stable months. So if there's rain, rarely there's a full day where it's pouring down. It can be just tiny moments during a day when there's a little bit of rain, but also because of the temperature and everything, I don't foresee any big challenges regarding the weather actually.
Wat zijn de temperaturen dan ongeveer rond die maanden?
Yeah,
Gewoon zoals Nederland?
No, it's warm. The temperatures in Germany, the Black Forest, it's warmer actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's warmer. So it can vary between summer in Netherlands. I think it's already 17 degrees. But there, let's say you go from 19 till 26-ish region, something like this.
Okay. Dankjewel.
Chance. Relevant.
Do you sleep alone in the tent, or do you share the tents?
Yeah, I think I mentioned that before. The tent is always a shared experience. The reason why is simply because they only have place for 3 tents, which means you most likely, you will probably share the tent with 3 persons. But what I will check, what we can always do is see if there's real problems in terms of sleeping or a person snoring or whatsoever, we can always just look into that. But normally there's only spots for 3 tents. That's why it stays that small. But we can always bring, let's say, an extra small tent in case someone really wants to spend some time by themselves. I don't foresee a problem because our intention is anyways that the dates that we are going to book, which is next week, we're gonna book the whole camp. So it will be ours anyways. The only thing is that there's some places, for instance, if we go there, some have platforms. So it's not possible to put another tent there, but the other ones are normally just one big flat ground where we can stay. And there it's easier to kind of have more separate tents.
Okay, yeah. And you have to bring the tents with us. So the weight you carry is heavier than the Nepal journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one is more to be around 12. And what we normally do, and it's very beautiful to see because the good thing is a tent obviously serves more people. So we actually share the weight of the tent. So someone brings the pole, someone brings the outer layer, someone the inner layer. And it's very cool to see how we all kind of divide these items among the people. Maybe good to know is that the tents I bring. So that's not something you have to worry about in terms of the tents. But things you have to keep in mind still is obviously a sleeping bag, the sleeping mat, maybe small inflatable pillow, something like it to sleep on. And that will suffice for these days. And if you know, for instance, like, a sleeping mattress thingy. By the way, I'm not referring to the sleeping mattress that we bring to festivals and stuff. They're too big, they're too heavy. It's gonna be way more simple and smaller, condensed. But you can always rent these. So we have these. If you say, like, for instance, I'm probably not gonna use one of these, then it will probably cost you like maybe 10 euros to rent one, something.
Okay, thanks.
With pleasure, Susanna. Any other questions, anyone?
Maybe when will you advise to choose Nepal, and when you advise to choose the forest lands? Or is that too much different from each other?
Yeah, it is. But genuinely, in terms of adventure, it's the same. As in, you're not giving in on any of it. But obviously, you're just exchanging scenery and time frame, so duration of the thing. But yeah, what people should take into consideration primarily is obviously what works for you in terms of time, what works for you in terms of money, but don't think like I'm not going. Don't think like if you go to forest lands that you're not getting the same experience as Nepal, and if you go to Nepal that you're not getting the same experience as forest lands. These are such unique, beautiful experiences that either way you're gonna get a dose of nature, of connection, of adventure, that they will give you the same feeling. They just wear a different jacket, let's say. Does that help in a way?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I have to think about it and let it all sink in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously there's a difference also that maybe people want to consider, which is in terms of, as I said before, time, that's especially one of the things, and also the duration of tracking, for instance, for Nepal, that's a 10-day. So if you want to get, if you think like, nah, let me start with something a little bit smaller in terms of time and everything, then there's a beautiful option, which is forest lands. But I know people are capable of doing either Nepal and forest lands. It's really, a lot of things are mindset. And if you just properly follow, you start on time with preparing and stuff, that's you'll be fine either way. But the only thing that I really emphasize on, don't be afraid to miss out on one of them. Like they're both so massive and so cool and so intense and meaningful that either way you're gonna be like, wow, this place, everything that we did, where we started and where we are now as a group and as an individual, is gonna be the same experience. But it depends on if you're up for a longer adventure, or it suits now better to keep a shorter one. I think that's more, what everyone has to figure out for themselves, and that defines the rest. I think that will help clarify a decision, I think.
Yeah.
And if there's,
yeah, it was helpful. So
yeah. Okay. If there's any questions regarding this, like please ask. I love to answer these questions. The only thing is that I can say, don't worry. Both of them is a win, as in there's no real difference. And I really want to emphasize on that, because Nepal for me is like my second home. I love to be there, but I'm so surprised and happy that I actually managed to find such a place here in Europe, that I think like, wow, this is it's a very big thing. So all right, any questions still? Okay, I think everyone more or less okay.
Dankjewel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Ik zeg thank you. Dankjewel.
Thank you. Pleasure. Come on. Thank you for showing interest in these beautiful experiences. As I said before, it's way more than just a simple activity thing. It's really a journey that you go on with a group of people, and a few of you know through other experiences, and and this adds a different dimension to it because it's more also activity based, a different environment surrounding, and duration is also longer. So, all right, it's 1:15. I think something is coming in. Let me check very quickly. You're welcome, Caroline, for providing the information. Thank you everyone for being here. Once again, you can always send a message. I think in the next mail, which you're getting on the 10th, the discount code will be included as well with the recording of this presentation, and then you can always look it back.
Ons nog één vraagje hoor. Ja, als het goed is, krijg je toch een lijst van wat je moet meenemen?
Ja.
Oké.
A gear list. If you get a gear list, yes.
Oh, dat is die gear list. Oké. Oké, top.
Yeah, and that's it for now. Then I wish you all a very lovely, pleasant evening. I'm happy that you guys were here. I'm happy that I was here to see these images again and to get inspired, to be like, I'm so excited for this year and everything that's coming and all the connections that are being made with the stores, and it's so cool. So yeah, thank you everyone, and have a very good evening.
Yeah.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks, Oscar.
Ciao. Good night.
Good night.
Ciao.